photo paper and notes. They were just really, really nice. And you can use them in many ways. So here's just an example when I was, again, playing with the backgrounds. So the easiest way is just to get your paper more or less in the size you like for the project and use some kind of liquid medium. For example, soft gel is a good solution because it is liquid and you can just spread it with a brush. So, and as they have clean space here, so let's hope here is clean. And you just have to be careful when you're sticking it because it's almost like napkin, so you don't want to pull it too much. So let's pick this is pretty part. I'm going to cut that a little bit smaller. And then on the top of that you can easily add splatters of colors, textures with the stencils or anything else you like. Let's hope this is going to be the right size. No. I just use this part. So first of all we need some good amount of gel.
Which gel did you use?
Soft gel. Soft gel, which is the most liquid, so then you've got the easiest spreading, and you can also use it as a sealer on the top, so it's going to work as a varnish at the same time. Now, picking the right. Try not to pull it too much. And then right away you can go on the top as well, so it's going to be like a varnish, and then you can always cut off the excess easily. And gel is going to be resist as well, which means you can add a lot of nice layers on the top, and if you're fast and something goes wrong you can wipe it off, because before the ink or the paint will dry it's going to be resisting. Okay, so this is like layer number one. You can just keep it as it is, or you can pick another element you like and you can add it on the top of it. So let's say we want to add this big face as another layer. It doesn't have to be perfectly cut off because the edges won't be that visible. So let's take this big face. So it's very nice for the collage backgrounds, for your journals or for your collage projects, of course. And then we repeat the same step. Let's put the face here. So we put a little bit more of the gel. Let's put
It's an amazing paper.
It's really nice because it is almost now invisible.
Yes.
So you can add many layers, and you can of course combine paper together with the paint. So you can glue it, dry it, paint a little bit, put another layer on the top, then dry it, stamp, put another layer. So you can play until you are really happy. And of course, the only problem is it is quite delicate. So you can see I'm ripping that easily. You don't want to pull it too much, so soft brush is better.
Better when it's wet, no?
Yes, it's easier to take it off when it's wet, and not to use too much of the pressure. So it's better to tap it than going and glue it, because if it's not completely glued down, you may take the paper with your hand. Like now, I have it on my finger. So this would be the only thing that may happen in the beginning when you're doing that first time, but usually when you are using the paper you feel it's delicate, so you will know you have to be careful. And in one pack you get 6 papers like this, so it's a lot of surface to work on. So if you're planning to make big collage or you want to repeat the same pattern, you can do it easily. I use the same one as a cover for the book, so it is the same design. So you have a lot of paper in one pack, so it's very good value, and you can play on many different surfaces. Good advice before you continue is to dry it. So now I will just give it a moment with the heat gun. And you can now stamp or paint and play with other mediums on the top. So I'm going to do maybe some stamping or maybe some stenciling with the texture paste. And then we can show, for example, the acrylic paints on the top. So you will see that they are semi-transparent and you can give the wash of color without changing anything. Yes, I'm making myself a bit more comfortable.
Yes, we're live, so
I know. It was so funny when I was making live on Saturday. My friend was holding the camera, and of course, when you finish live, there is like one picture which is the cover of the whole live. What you can see, it's my back because I was doing like this. So you can see here. For all the photos, like 1 hour of recording, it had to be this. Okay. Yeah. So, and you feel like I try to be professional and people see something. Yes, instead of a project, me smiling like, no, you're. Okay, so you can see now the second layer is not really visible. The edge is almost invisible, but if there is something, once you start adding more layers, it will probably completely disappear. So you can play with different papers, you know, picking the designs, adding more to fill the empty spaces. You can do it only on the part of your background, and then you can brush the color from the other side, so it's going to be blended nicely. Because it's very, very thin paper, there will be not that much of the edge visible. So if we want to add some textures to it, there's other new products you can use. There are pastes, which is called unicorn paste and the golden nugget paste. So unicorn, as you can see, is iridescent with the glitter in it, and golden nugget is brown sand with gold in it. So they work really nicely because they have gel base, so you can add the color to it, and they're quite easy to spread. Just to show you the result on black and white, right? So you can see unicorn changes more into blue-green color palette, and then golden nugget you can see the gold a little bit more because of the dark background. So for this color, probably this is better choice, but they both come in the same size of the jars. So this is the packaging, so you can see how they look like. Unicorn has a quite a special thing because they're really big pieces of glitter. They look like fish scales, so it's not so smooth as usually the pastes are. I will show you that on something, so hopefully you are able to see. This is the project when I was using the unicorn paste. So if you smear it, you can see the almost like fish scales here. So this is applied unicorn paste. And here I'm adding just more for extra interest, and then the white color will disappear because it will dry transparent, and you will see the big pieces of glitter. You can see it's almost like this sometimes. So there are small and there are big ones. So if you use the unicorn paste with the stencil, you will see sometimes a lot of leftovers on the stencil as well. There will be the biggest pieces that didn't go through it. So you just need to be a little bit more careful when you can see the big glitter here. You can just clean the stencil a little bit more because there will be this chunky pieces of glitter. For us now, it will be better to create something with the other paste. So I'm picking maybe one of the stencils. Let's do some background with this more vintage looking one. So it's going to be the, yeah, I didn't clean the unicorn off that much. It's okay. So this one is more fine because the sand is really, really thin, so it is not going to be a problem. Just try to make more space on the table somehow. Good luck with this. And you can use your palette knife, credit card, anything you like for applying. This is silicone brush. So when you use it through the stencil, you can see the glitter already. You can feel it has the texture, but it's really nice effect. Of course now it looks grey because the gel is still wet, but once we start drying it, turns more and more brown and gold. So of course another thing you can do if you have some leftovers and you would like to create some special paste, you can add color into both of them, so the gel will turn into specialty color, maybe blue or green or anything else. So I'll put it here for a moment. I will try that with the baby wipe. Okay. Let's say I've got some of the golden nugget. Let's maybe turn it more into like orange rusty color. So I'm adding a bit of acrylic paint as well.
Let's see how fluid are the fluids.
They're fluid.
They are, okay.
They're fluid. Okay, with some purple from my brush as well. But mixing in is very simple. Let's take a tag or anything else. Yeah, so you can get colorful paste with the texture, and then of course after drying, the more dry it is, the more glitter is visible. So you can easily adapt the paste if you prefer to have the colorful background. You can. You just need some of the liquid. Paints are liquid like this. So yeah, so this is not going to drip as itself that much. But you can add water or you can add the liquid base, and this is going to dilute it without changing the quality of the paint. So this, mix it with something. It's like the base of the paint in a separate.
Is this gel like we can put that?
It's acrylic medium, and you can put it in any acrylic paint,
Okay,
really,
okay.
right?
So we can use it with your other paints as well.
Yes, for example, with impasto.
Yep. This is good.
Yeah. So you can now see, or of course you can go with water. Yeah, and then it's going to flow like watercolor. But the idea of using this one is some of the colors are very strong, very, very potent. So it's easier to dilute something than to make darker. So I was thinking I will add extra ingredients so you can just play, and it's going to be super easy. So I will show you the example. Let's take another clean tag. And let's take dark color from the paints, maybe one of the purples, right? And straight from the bottle, leaves, straight from the bottle, it's going to be very dark. So this is like right away, you can see it's kind of saturated purple. Now, if you add the solution and mix it in, you get more transparency, but the quality of the paint is the same. So it's going to dry in the same way, and it's just going to be less intense color. So with the darker ones, if you want better transparency, but you want to get acrylic effect, not like watercolor effect, you add this. If you want to play with more like watercolor effect, then instead of the acrylic medium, you just add water, and then you can play, like, there's some watercolor tags here. So we take the paint, right, and then we spray water, for example, and we can get all these more traditional.
So it can be used with your sparkle paint, etc.?
Yes, yes, it's
So
the same
it's
family.
a must, you hear.
It's the same family because they're acrylics, so they work nicely. What was important, and I was explaining to ladies before as well, these paints are transparent, which means you can see through them. So I will be also doing that here, so you will be able to see that the background is visible through the drips, but I'll just be drying that in the meantime, so I hope you don't mind. It's just going to be a bit of rearranging. Okay.
We can hold it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what happens if you are going to put the dark color first? if you put lighter colors on the top, they are not visible. You have to start from light colors and go to the dark. And then you see many layers of the color. If you do the opposite, let me just try it first, so I will show you. If you start with the purple and then you want to put yellow, this yellow won't be that visible. You can do the opposite, but especially on the black gesso, the paint will disappear. So you have to think other way. It's opposite to the metallic paints. Metallic paints shine beautifully on the black surfaces because they reflect the light. These, no, they don't really you can't see them that much. I had this black tag and I painted that with yellow. Okay, so the same happens here. Once I have the dark surface, and I'm trying to maybe now take the yellow paint, it's a good example. Where is clean one?
You need a new palette.
I need. Okay, so this is really strong yellow, but it's still yellow. Now, when you go on the top here, the darker it is, the less you are going to see. Here, because it was diluted, you can see some, but
Well, you can see. It's
yes,
very strong.
you can see,
Yes.
but the more of the darker the color, the less you can. So if you want to get better results, try to go with these ones first. Sorry. And then try to put darker on the top, and then you will be having better control on the result. You will be able to predict what is going to happen. And here it's like, is it dark enough or not? Right, so that's me. That's why it's good to have also this diluting medium, because you can make your dark colors lighter this way. So let's now do the purple on the top. Yeah, so diluted one is like this, and this darker one is like this. So from dark to light, from light to dark is easier. It's easier to imagine what is happening. While here, there may be some surprises, especially if it's black gesso. So one of the things that you learn when you use these paints, if you are making the project, for example, like this, if you put black gesso first, you can't see anything. I was showing that on the demo on Saturday. I painted black and I put the colors and nothing. So you dry it, you put the white one, and then you can see the colors easily. So if you have some doubts how to do it, here the white gesso is the answer. And this is an example of the project. This is going to be one of the classes I'm planning to teach this year as well, and maybe in the next one. So I used the tissue papers, the green ones, as a background. So I had this nice print. Then I was gluing my elements using the heavy body gel, added some textures, dried everything so it was easy to work on. And then, before putting any color, I just added white gesso. It was not super careful. I just made sure everything was more or less white. And then I was dipping my brush in paint, putting colors in different places, trying to make it flow, adding water to make it drip, dried it, and then finally with really small brush, I was playing to add the colors in the right places, adding more rusty effects. So you can really get a lot of effect just by playing with water and then adding finishing touches. Only things which are not painted with these acrylics is the face and the wing and the drop, because I wanted to highlight them, so I use metallic paint here. But all the other things, it was just playing with the acrylics. So you can see that it is possible to see the background through it, which is nice. And oh, yeah, I'm so sorry.
It's mine. No, sorry.
Yeah, it's like I'm trying to hide the mess this way, but it's happening anyway. So this one is safe. It's very
This
small.
one needs something here.
I know, it's something heavy.
Yeah.
So you can see what they do. We can use the same thing as kind of technique to put on the top of our canvas as well. So I'm just making sure this is more or less dry so I can touch it. And now if we're going to add some color, it's going to resist, and here we can have nice drips of colors. So this is, maybe let's play with some browns, because it's browns and turquoise. That would be good combination, because that was purple. So let's do something else. this is turquoise color, so let's add this. And you can see you don't take a lot of paint because it's really strong. So if you have too much on your palette, soon it's going to be a problem because it is going everywhere. And some brown. And one of the ways of application, as I said, is to just simply dip the brush in the water and just apply the paint and then water it down right away. So it's going to make some watercolor effect. And as long as it is wet, you can easily add more. And it's almost like stains now, so you know, it's up to you how you want to play with it. And of course, if you want to pick it up now, you still have chance because it is wet. So if you don't like it on the face, yeah, we can do like this. Don't wait, because if you're going to wait for too long, this is going to dry permanent. So it's better to just react right away. Turquoise maybe. So this is like one of the ways. So that would be the way I made the background for this one as well. Or on the big book that you can see in the front, that was similar technique. I was using some white gesso in between as well, but that's how you can do it.
You can color white gesso?
Yes, you can, because it's just mixing in, and so of course it's adding the color to it. So once it is going to be more or less dry, of course you can play with embellishments. I'm going to put some embellishments on the top as well, and I will show you with the white gesso. I just take the unicorn out of the way. So let's pick some of the elements we dry here. Yeah. So we ignore it. It doesn't happen. It doesn't. It's hot. Be careful. Right. So here are the ones I used from the molds, which is also a new product. I will show that in a moment. So yes. So you can see I just made some in advance because I wanted to be ready, because you know, things happen. You can use also the hot glue if you like. I was using the.
Clay do you use generally?
That's a very hard question, because I have like 5 products at home. Some of them are like this one. This is the new modeling material from Prima. It's like Fimo. So it dries for quite a long time and it's flexible when it dries, so you can round it if you like on the element. It's not my favorite because it dries for like 1 day. So, but I'm not patient, which means I usually go with the resin. So 2 ingredients, and I just pour the resin and dries. Or this is kind of clay, it's called decor clay. It's like a resin and clay together. So again, 2 ingredients, and it dries in about 40 minutes. Or you can use the traditional, more like traditional things like the one you put your fingers, like Fimo.
Yes.
Or air dry clay. Not huge fan of the paper clay because it's hard to do it. You can, but I think Prima is replacing the paper clay with this product now. It's much easier to apply and it doesn't dry out quickly.
And it's heavy? Or?
No, it's more like, it's not light, it's not heavy, it's like Fimo. So it comes in a big bucket because officially it's a home decor item, but you can feel this is soft. Okay? So it's kind of easy to move, and you can bend it if you want to work on the bucket or the bottle. So it's, if you have a wing or a flower, you can round it and stick it when it's half wet. So it's a good thing.
But it's 1 day.
You know, it all depends on the needs. Sometimes you need to make it. Like with this, you can have no chance really to round it. You have to be like, you know, break that into pieces, which is not the best solution. But with this one, yes. So I have different materials at home depending on the purpose. And for the demo purposes, Sharon was doing the demo with the hot glue, and I will show you the same as well. Because it's very easy, and so, for example, this flower was made with the hot glue as well. Yeah. So let's take one of the molds in the meantime. This is drying. Yes, maybe. So there are 3 big molds and 4 smaller ones. So the small ones are more romantic. So they are the girl faces, flourishes, hearts. So you have a big focal point for your composition if you need something, and then you've got smaller elements. So this is again the girl. I had this one here. She's just missing her flower now because she had an accident. It was very dramatic. Yes, but you can see this is exactly how it. So with the resins, of course, the design is always a little bit better. With the ones that you have to press in, sometimes you don't have so much patience. So they will be like big ones and small ones on the same piece of silicone. Okay, the bigger ones, it's packed, so there's a lot of different shapes. This is mechanica, so you've got mechanical parts taken from alarm clock. A lot of different cogs and gears, different sizes. They're quite deep. I was showing you like, this is not the deepest one. Yeah, this one is like an example of this. So they may be really thick, so you can get really different one to metal ones. So if you put them together, they look different because they are really chunky. So this is an example of, sorry, wrong way. This one coming from here. So you can, from one sheet, you can get a lot of elements. So there will be little nuts and bolts that you can use for finishing touches, and then there will be big pieces to build the collage. So if you want to make this elaborate project and you need a lot of elements, this is a cheaper way to create that, and then you can just decorate them with the most beautiful like metal rusty finishes on the top. You don't have to use so much of the metal elements anymore. You can use that, and you can see the detail is quite nice. This is the set of moons and stars. So there will be faces of the full moon, like this is the biggest one of them, and then there will be this shape as well. So this is this coming from here, and stars of different kinds. So there will be barn stars, there will be traditional regular stars. The last one is wings and cogs, and this is the 4 pair of wings, like very big, a little bit smaller, and then finally small ones. And again, this is one of the wings here, so you can see how it works. I have probably, here's the biggest wing, right? So this would be coming from these. So they are really for the bigger projects, and they are possible to make with different materials. And together with that, because it's more on the steampunk side, they are mechanical parts as well. So I was trying to make different elements. This is like the pocket watch middle that you can also get out of the mold. They're quite thick, all of them, so the elements will be really sturdy. You don't have to worry that much that they are going to be hard to take out. And let's make one maybe to show you how it works with the hot glue. Let's make maybe a wing. So with the Prima molds, no matter if it's my mold or is it general Prima redesign mold, the material used for making the mold is silicone, and it is heat proof, so you can go to very high temperatures with it. It's similar silicone people use for making muffins, right? So there's the silicone one you put in the oven, so they use similar one to make this. So nothing happens to your mold, and you can create even with the hot material. Sometimes your glue is not hot enough, so you get the spaghetti and it doesn't look really pretty. So then Sharon told me, take your heat gun. And she said she made a lot of these. And then you can reheat it again, so it will get flat. And once it is flat, it is going to go better in the cavities, and it's going to be a bit nicer. With the resins or plasters, it's always easy because you pour it right away. So the design is really perfectly done. With the hot glue, so you can try with different ones. Let's make this one as well. And of course you can't touch it for the first 3 minutes because it's hot. So I will just leave it to dry. And the results will be visible right away. So I will have one down here. So this is one of the flowers. What is here, this is flexible after drying. So there are some advantages. This is the cog. You can cut it in the shape you like. You can just paint it right away. So let's show you, this is painted one. Right, so it does look like natural decor. There's one thing, if you're using heat gun on your project later, you have to be careful not to hold it too much over the silicone elements because this glue will melt or explode in a funny way sometimes. So you have to be more careful during the drying process. So that would be one of the things you have to be careful about. But the results are really nice. So you can get quickly elements for your project if you need to color something. This is one of the redesign molds painted with the metallic paints. So once you have your elements ready, you can make the project so just by gluing them. So you can see here I use the biggest moon from the mold and I glued it with other embellishments and then I was painting that all together. So gluing is one of the things that just ignore it. And that will be the photo that will go for Facebook Live again. So you can just use something which is strong adhesives. I usually use heavy body gel, or you can replace that if you don't have it with modeling paste, which is white, but if you paint everything nobody will see it. Or the second good choice is 3D gloss gel. These three will be the strongest and the best. This is like the strongest of them all. And then we've got selection of different materials. You can glue with that. You can glue the metal, resin, hot glue, lace, whatever you like. So this is one of the example of the metal embellishments. So you can see the thickness is very different. And you can easily make the composition. So let's say something like this. So I'm going to make composition on the top, so not too much. Yes, sorry. So I'm putting the gel on the other side. I have to put quite a lot because this is not even surface. So I will have to press it down nicely. Yeah.
So the white one will be resin, right?
This one is, I can't tell exactly what the formula of that is. It's not Prima item, however I would love to make it, so maybe one day we will get the manufacturer. I think it is resin, but it looks like plaster. But you have two ingredients. It is powder that looks a bit like plaster, and then there's special liquid, transparent. Once you mix it, it looks like plaster for a moment, but it dries faster, and it also dries harder. So it doesn't break that much. So I like it because it's more durable. So
one powder and
yes, and it's sold as a kit, of course. So I bought it for trying, and I really like the results. So I was quite happy about the. I can just do like a lot of molds in one time.
yes,
So that was good solution for me, and it works.
and picks up all the fine details.
Yes. So that would be a little bit different to traditional resin because they usually look like plastic after drying. This is a little bit more like plaster. So this is nice. So I'm just gluing.
Also, it's quite easy to snap off.
Yeah, but not as easy as it would be with the traditional plaster because then it just breaks in pieces very quickly. So I'm just trying to make something nice here. Thank you. And it's a bit more here. Okay. Oh. It's maybe not the best placement for this key because it looks like the moon has something in his mouth, but let's say this is the part of the plan. And now I need something smaller to add the finishing touches. I have some smaller bits and pieces as well. So this is like the small ones from the Mechanica that looks like here with the screw now on the top. Okay, let's say we have something here. So before we do anything else, we will just dry it. And they are mostly white, so I wouldn't have to worry, but intentionally I added something brown as well, so I will have to put gesso, so this is not going to be different.
Yes.
So it's always better to have the coat of white gesso if your colors are not even, so the painting with the paints will be much easier. So maybe one more here for better measure. Aha. Perfect. So now moment of drying, and I will be putting just a little bit of this gesso to make sure everything is primed and it is not so dark anymore. I was explaining before the acrylic paints I'm going to use, they are transparent. So that means if I put the color on the dark surface, it's not going to be visible. So if the color is lighter, you can layer one on the top of another. But if your color is very dark, like here, the color of the paint is not visible. That's why white gesso is a good solution. And black gesso, which is here painted with yellow, it's not a good solution.
So you have to use white.
Yes, for these acrylics, it is much better to work on the light color surfaces, so white gesso would be a better choice, while with the metallics it's the opposite. The best result you get on the dark backgrounds because it shines so much. So here is the opposite situation. So I will now quickly add maybe a coat of just white gesso.
Is that the new
Yes,
acrylic?
the new acrylics, they are liquid acrylics and they dry transparent glossy. So it's totally opposite to the ones we had in Pasteline because they dry matte completely
Yes,
opaque.
and then thick.
Yes. So this is like the other side. So you have a very different range of techniques you can use them for. Let's hope this is clean brush. Let's say it's clean. So I'm trying to paint it,
The gesso.
yes, with the white gesso. The resin you don't have to worry that much because it's white anyway. And this one is not very slippery because it's similar to plastic. But if it would be plastic or something like traditional resin, I will also paint it just in case to make it matte. It will be just easier to work on. So I do this. Let's say a little bit more here on this embellishment because it's very, very dark. And of course a moment of drying so it's set and easy to work on. We are trying to be as fast as possible. You can see here I was doing the similar project on the lighter surface. So here I was starting with the unicorn paste, here's the golden nugget paste, so they are very different when it comes to the finish. And then I was using some lace and embellishments and I was going for blue purples when it comes to the color palette. But the effect or the technique we are using here is very similar, so you can imagine that in other color palette as well. Let's take the colors for us, so browns and turquoise. That is turquoise, that is blue, and there's this nice shades of brown. Some brown, some turquoise, and maybe some blue. So what I did, yes.
Can I just borrow the adapter for
Sure.
few minutes to borrow my neck?
Hello, Diane. What is it? Is it this?
This is for European one, so this converted from United States
Yes.
to all Europe.
Because they brought from the United States a European kettle for me.
That's so nice.
But it doesn't work, so I have to borrow this. I'll bring it back. I just want to
No worries.
have my cup of tea.
It's all yours. Poor thing. Oh my god. It was our surprise as well because all the cords are American. I got my heat gun from home and everything European. I was like, ah.
Sometimes you can just plug it in.
Yeah, I was thinking,
Yes.
but so you can just go like that.
Or to lighten it.
Yeah, to lighten it, but to make it flow. So you can just dab it instead of spraying right away. You can just go like that.
And then you lighten it, okay.
Yeah.
I like that.
And because we're working on the gel medium, it's going to really flow. Because this is all sealed with this soft gel, so there's no problem in getting the colors.
Or over it.
Yeah, they're going to just go like floating, right? So as much as you like, and I think I need more brown here. My brush is very dirty, but
So, what did you seal it with?
this was just soft gel on the top of the
soft
tissue
gel.
paper. But the paints were not sealed. They are just drying like that. So you don't have to do anything. Let's go with the more brown here. Even like that will do. Nice effect. Okay, then of course before we do anything else to it, we dry it. So then we don't dry it because Diane has our dryer. So in the meantime, we're going to see our elements from the mold. You can see it is coming out like the chocolates, right? So you can, just with the hot glue gun, you can create quickly some elements if you need to. And of course this is not the only way. You can use resins, all the other modeling pastes in it. But this is like the fastest for the demo. So you can just get the result right away. The other way of getting this effect is in fact creating your own mist. So you can take one of the spray bottles and you can put the color inside. So you can just make sprayer out of this paint, and I was testing to see if it's clogging the bottle or not, because with traditional acrylics you usually are thicker and they have a lot of binder. So you can do it, you shake it well, but then the whole pipe may get clogged because of the binder. I put that in 4 different bottles, 4 different colors for testing. I sprayed my project and I left it on the table, and I'm checking like every 3 days and it still works. So I think because this is so liquid, the binder is really like minimum here. So I will just show you, this is like tea stain color now.
That's the brown, right?
That's the brown. We've got like the brown spray. I will show you maybe on the piece of the watercolor. Let's see. Yeah, and this is going to dry as a permanent color as well. So I can also add some here for the tea staining. But I did the same thing here, for example. So later when you spray with water or you try to reactivate it, it is not going to happen. This is permanent because the paint is permanent. So in a way this is creating permanent sprays out of the paint if you want to. The other thing you can do to improve it, if you want a special kick, you can take, for example, mica powders and make it shiny very easily. And I was doing the mix with pink before, it was so pretty. So maybe now we do more like a goldish one. So we can also use it. These are coming now in sets of 6 in a package, coordinating colors, 2 or more pastel sets, and one is that's called Paradise. It's more like tropical full colors, and you have to remove the sticker before you are using the shaker. So there's like shaker and a bigger here, so you can apply it in a little bit more safe way. And of course you can just mix two together.
So because that's permanent, the mica will stay.
They will stay a bit better than just regular with water. It's not like completely permanent, but this way you can get better stickiness of it. It's not going to be huge, but it's going to give you some shiny. Probably you can't see it here. Let's get on the black. It's brown on the brown. So here it's getting into the shiny effect. So after drying you get, for example, brown with the nice brown mica. See, hopefully the kettle is coming. So we are drying. We are drying.
Is that one like the extender?
Yes. This one is making really the.
You feel gorgeous. What was your heart into this?
Yes. Oh, you are so good. Thank you so much.
This.
You have a lot of qualities.
You're still here?
Yeah.
She's fabulous.
We're
isn't
coming
she?
to you next.
She's coming to me next time.
Yes, you have
Oh,
to.
look. Is this yours? Tissue?
Yeah.
I haven't seen that.
We made this one for the black face.
Yeah. Cool. Well, I'll be back. I'll be at home. I'll be in my shops. I'll be able to see.
Soon. Okay then. Now we have to dry it. And of course, it takes a moment, but once you feel it is more or less dry, you can work on the top. If it's not diluted, the paint is a little bit like nail polish because it is transparent a bit, but also glossy finish, so it looks like not non-pearly nail polish. So it's going to give you really vibrant color. So all these things I had on my palette from yesterday, they were shiny, not because they were wet, just because it dries this way. So now we can give it a little bit of a wash again with the gesso to make it be a little bit more visible, and then we can spray it again, or we can finish with waxes, whatever you like, because it's going to be permanent surface. So it's really up to you. You can repeat this sequence many times until you're happy with the result. You can just say, okay, I put too much blue, let's add other colors. So it's good to give a wash of background color first. So white would be the best one because it's showing you the surface. So let's say, yeah, let's get in the new clean brush now. For example, just cleaning that a little bit. Probably in some part it's still wet, but now we get a little bit better definition.
But the background color is still there.
Yeah, just dry brushing that on the top. Now we can play, adding some of the super spray we made. We can add more color from here if we like. Of course, it's just up to you. You just have to remember every time when you are going to apply the colors, and they are dark, if you want to put lighter ones, you have to help a little bit with the lighter background. So you can use your gesso many times on the project. We're going to finish with the new waxes so you can see how they work. So I just dry it enough to make sure it's going to be visible. So for us, probably the best color combination will be some turquoise with some contrasting color. This is going to be like fiery orange one. We've got 9 colors, and I made a color swatch to show all of them. 4 of them are more pastel, and the 5 of them are more vibrant. So I'm just trying to find the right color swatch. So these are the paints. These are not useful at all. These are... I had it. Well,
You need a bigger desk.
I need like a huge desk, and this is the problem with me. The bigger desk I have, the more space I'm using anyway. I will make a new color swatch for you. Okay. So I just open all of them. This is the peacock one and the Finnabair I was planning to use for highlights here. I used electric violet and the Finnabair, so you can see it as the front. And the next one with the vibrant ones, it's the old denim, which is more like navy blue, right? And this is Indian pink, which is like fuchsia saturated pink. So this is the set of the vibrant ones. They're more pastel here, so mint sparkle. So it's mint with a bit of gold. Then this is Blue Lagoon, which is like baby blue. Then there is Heather Hills, which is like lavender heather. And then finally Sweet Rose, which will be like baby pink. So all of them are metallic ones, just like the metallics we had before. So they would be, I think if I have any. But if you remember these colors like white gold, old silver, all this range, this is the same formula. They're just more crazy colors now because people were hoping to see that. So you use them exactly the same way. The consistency is the same, everything except the color.
You're still keeping the old colors,
Yes,
right?
yes, yes, yes. We are
Because
having...
we have many missing.
Yes, they were out of stock,
Yes.
and then they were. I expect they're coming in the same shipment to be, because it's the same manufacturer for doing that for us. So because they were having shipment of these, probably the new
okay.
ones that were missing are on the same container, because that makes sense. You don't want
Because
to ship.
people are worried.
Oh, no worries, they are coming.
Okay.
We need them. So the easiest way will be, because we want to cover a little bit more, to take a brush first. So I would go with the peacock color, and I will do the highlights with this one. And of course they will work exactly the same way. So you just have them permanent after drying. I'm trying to be careful because some of the things are wet. We can break it a little bit and add some glue because it will be kind of boring to have it all the same, right? So, and they blend nicely and they get dry and permanent in about 10 minutes. So it's like furniture wax. So once it is dry, it's like sealed and cured, and you don't have to worry that you're going to wipe it off by accident. And in the first minutes, it's still possible to clean it off a little bit because it will be reacting a bit, but later it's going to work nicely. And as a working surface, just for example, that was just with the Finnabair. I made it before, so if you want to clean it off with a baby wipe, it's not coming off. It's very hard to rub off anything, so you have to rub for a long time. It's like with furniture. If you touch it a lot, finally you have to re-wax it. Here, like, you would have to really work hard to remove any of it. So it's good finishing touch. So let's say it is done. So I can do some highlights now, and then Finnabair is very vibrant, so we can touch just the details, and it's easier to sway for me with the fingers, so I can touch only parts of the elements now. So when you are doing the first waxing and you want to go deep, it's better to go with the brush because your finger is not so precise. But then when you are doing the highlights, you just feel what you are touching, and you know, okay, I can go here and there, and this works quite well.
It's actually like brass color.
Yeah, it's really, and it's very vibrant. So for this, I need to put some waxing here as well because it doesn't work without it. It's like, so I will try to, yeah, just add some color. So we can get some better balance on the canvas because it was just like, it's very white here. And then maybe just to, feel a bit better. And of course here is dripping, so I will do one thing. I'll pick it up. But if it was dry, you could just totally also add some highlights to the textures. Yeah, so it's adding another dimension. So with all these new release products, you can really have coordinating finishes for your project. So you've got something to build the composition, build the background with the paper, you can, and then have colors, different techniques with the highlighting with the colors, and then you can finish with the waxes, or you can mix with the things you know from before, because there are so many options. And these waxes will go beautifully with the old ones. You can use this as a background color because it's so vibrant, and then you can tone it down with the traditional metallic. It's a very good combination. These acrylics are going to give you great effect on your stamped backgrounds. If you have some of the pattern paper, you can seal it, for example, with the gel medium or with the white gesso, and then you can work with the splatters, drips, washes of color. So you've got this transparency possible to create, or you can create your sprays. Aha, look what I found. I found the color swatch of the waxes. So this is how they look after application, and they look very, very similar on the black surface as well. So they are made to be covering waxes. They are not like Opal Magics, which were just transparent. They are not like Brilliants, which were the antiquing ones. They're like full color. So what you see is what you get. Okay. That's kind of more simple. And once it is all dry, like here, it's very hard to remove anything. So permanent finish on your project. We were not sealing that with anything. It was just paint dripping, drying, and then it's going to give you a nice surface. So what you can do if you would like to, for example, add some other techniques to it, because people like to use crayons or they like to use pastels, you can, on some point of the project, when you have this surface covered with gel medium, which is very slippery, you can put coat of clear gesso. And clear gesso will give you transparent matte finish, but then it's going to be possible to work.
Yeah.
And then if you want to seal it with something, you can, but you don't have to really. So it is like, you can just leave it like this, or you can go one step further, clear gesso, and then you can apply pencils, crayons, pastels, anything that is really in need, even the pens, like white pens or anything. So I don't have stamps to show you, unfortunately, because I didn't get them in the shipment, but there is nice set of new stamps as well. There are clear stamps, 6 different backgrounds, I think, like the small
ones.
They're
yes,
good,
there are 6.
very good, because they're not expensive and you can do very good stamping in your backgrounds. And there are 4 sets of cling stamps, which are more inspired with the vintage, 2 of them. So there will be old paper backgrounds, and there will be like next. Then there will be bugs and birds on one, very nice. And then there will be dragonflies with the flower lady as well, so you can do that. And the last one is vintage with the face of the girl and the face of the woman, really, really sad, and some letters. So something for people who like a little bit more botanical and animals, and something for vintage. Very good for collage technique. So you will see that the papers coordinate really with the Art Daily collection. So all the things which go with the journal. So this is something that you can use together with this keyboard cover and with the stamps, because this is the similar set of designs. So you can see here the paper I'm using today. It's corresponding with the stamp set that was going with Art Daily. And we also have the washi tape that is corresponding with that in the bigger size. Here's the only one I have, but there's literally a tissue paper in the same pattern but in this size, so you can play with the big and the small, and that goes with that as well. So I'm trying to support the journaling line, adding some things that go nicely with journaling, but also of course for traditional mixed media. And the other new thing I don't have on the table, there are new sets of mechanicals, and this we have one here and one here, which is not everything. But now they come in the patina, so there are little labels, there will be cogs, there will be new gears as well with the patina and rusty finish, and there will be several plates in the different finishes as well. So we don't have everything, unfortunately. But I got the shipment
We'll have
at
them
home.
in due time.
Yes, I got a shipment at home. I got like 4 sets of each. Thank you. 4 sets of each. So I will try to take good photos of them at home when I'm back, because I literally got them on Thursday and I was leaving on Friday. So I was like, not enough to send to my design team, but I will try to take a good photo so you can see how they look like. They're really nice. And I also got the molds, so I will be able to play a little bit more with them. And finally, I've got bottles of paint instead of the little samplers. So these are waiting for the same shipment as the waxes probably, so they're coming any moment now. But it's really, really good mixture to play with. So I hope you enjoyed it.
Thank you very much. Say hello.
Hello to everybody. It is great to be here with all of you, and I hope you like the demo. It's still dripping, yes, because it's very wet, but oh, it's even pretty. I like it. So check online on the website, because my design team is showing a lot of beautiful projects. We are trying to show you the new products the best way. So Instagram, Facebook, and the blog. It's full of the inspiration.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.